The 2021 NFL Pro Bowl may not actually happen, but they are still counting votes, and all of the players that do get nominated will still have that Pro Bowl nomination count towards their accolades. So which Chicago Bears deserve to make it? Today, in episode number 105 of Uncut, we're going to be going over 3 Bears as well as an honorable mention that deserve to make the Pro Bowl in 2021. So let's hop right into it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. You guys have been showing incredible support to this series recently. It's been mind-blowing. You guys have loved the off-season videos that we're doing, kind of looking past the 2020 season. But if you guys are new to the channel and want Bears content every day of the week, we're uploading 2 videos a day. Do us a favor, smash a like and subscribe. We've gained over 3,000 subscribers in 2020. I'm sure soon enough we're going to be getting together and talking about our 2021 goals. But the year 2020 has been great, and we want to close it out in the best way possible. So we're going to keep posting videos for you guys and getting you guys the content that you want to see. So welcome back. I am your host, Chris Malpe, today to talk about the Pro Bowl. Even though it is not happening, it's still important that players are getting that's, I guess, asterisks by their accolades that they made the Pro Bowl in 2021, even though it's not going to happen. But I am joined today with my co-host to the right of me, Jaylen McClinton. Jaylen, what's going on, buddy?
It's going good. Like you said, our listeners and viewers have been loving the uncuts. Some of the comments have been funny, comparing me to KSI. Personally, I don't see it, but Parth and Chris find it pretty funny. But,
could you hop in the boxing ring?
Nah. I wouldn't do that, but let's talk.
All right. Well, today we're here to talk about some Bears that we think are going to make the Pro Bowl. I would like to say before we start this one off, the one name that's going to be excluded from this video, obviously, is Khalil Mack. He hasn't had the greatest season, but he's someone who, throughout the rest of his career, probably is going to make the Pro Bowl just based off of his name. So I'm going to start it off. We're going to start it off with special teams, and the first player is pretty obvious who we think are going to make it. It's going to be Cordarrelle Patterson. Cordarrelle Patterson leads all return specialists in the NFC with votes, tallying in at 79,010 total votes on the year. He leads the NFL with 787 kick return yards. He also has an average of 30.27 returns yards per return, which is pretty darn good considering if you touch back, you get the ball at the 25. That ranks second in the league. He also returned a kickoff 104 yards for a touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings in Week 10, and obviously off of that became tied for the most kick return touchdowns in NFL history with 2 other players. I forget who exactly. I think Josh Cribbs was one of them, but it's been a great year for Patterson. He's been filling in at a running back. Obviously, he's going to make the Pro Bowl as a return specialist, but he still had on the year 20 receptions, 128 yards, and then if I can find his rushing stats, he's been decent on the ground as well. So rushing this year, he's had, I believe, 53 carries for 815 yards and a touchdown, only 3.5 yards per carry, but he's been decent as a running back. And I mean, it's Cordarrelle Patterson. He takes everything out a majority of the time, and he's been absolutely incredible ever since he came to Chicago as a return specialist. So I think he definitely is someone who should make the Pro Bowl this year. He's another player who's up there kind of because his name, but he's been absolutely living up to it this year. Tied for the most kickoff returns for a touchdown in NFL history. He's been incredible. So I'm going to bring Jaylen back in here. Jaylen, I mean, I don't really think it's up for question, but in your mind, do you see Cordarrelle Patterson, who already leads the NFC in votes, making the Pro Bowl as a return specialist this year?
Definitely. He's been one of the best, in my opinion, for a couple seasons now. He was an All-Pro last year, only All-Pro on the team, and I think that continues to follow this season. He'll be another Pro Bowler and All-Pro.
Yeah, and next we're going to move on to Jaylen now, talking about Bears linebacker. I'm sure that gave it away as it is, but this player has never made the Pro Bowl in his past. He's looking for his first nomination this year. So, Jaylen, the floor is yours. Who do you think should make the Pro Bowl in 2021?
So for the Bears, oh crap, off camera. For the Bears, I feel like our linebacker Roquan Smith should be a Pro Bowler this year. Definitely, he's been one of our best not running back. He's been one of our best players on defense by far, having an amazing season. He He bounced back from his injury last year when he tore his pectoral muscle and was out for 6 games. So this season, Roquan has 110 tackles, which is tied 5th in the NFL, 75 solos, 33 assists, and 2 sacks. And like I said, he's been one of the best players. He's been very consistent this year. Last season he went through some mental stuff and was out a couple games, but was able to bounce back, and he's continued to follow that this year and had an amazing season. In my opinion, he's one of the best linebackers in the league. He should be a Pro Bowl. It might be All Pro this season as well. So I'm going with Roquan here.
Yeah, a very good pick. It's been quite the year for Roquan. You mentioned it. 110 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. I mean, what a year it's been for him. We talked about all offseason. If he was able to stay healthy, it was going to be a big year for him. Taking a look at some of the advanced stats for him, if I can pull them up here. He's also got 5 passes defended this season, 2 sacks, 15 tackles for a loss, and 3 quarterback hits. So it's been a great year for him. I definitely think it's a no-brainer that he makes the Pro Bowl. I think he's been probably a top 3 linebacker this season, if we're being honest. I don't know if he essentially is going to get the national recognition because he plays for the Bears, but it's been a great year for Roquan Smith, and he definitely deserves it. So heading into our third player, let's head back around to me now. This one is someone who I don't think is going to end up making it. Maybe he'd be a replacement, but obviously there's no replacements because this year there's not an actual game happening. But a player I still think deserves to make it and has been playing all pro football is Kyle Fuller. It's been a great year for him. Taking a look at his stats, he has 8 passes defended this year, only 1 interception returned for 5 yards, but he's had 48 tackles. If he keeps it up, he's going to be around his career high in tackles. Overall, it's been a great year for Fuller. It's not really, Jaylen and I were talking about it before we hopped on the call or started recording. It's not really for Fuller, the numbers that he's putting up. He obviously is down in interceptions, had a couple more last year, 7 in 2018, which was tied for the league. But it's been a good year for Fuller. He makes a ton of plays, whether it's making big tackles, whether it's breaking up passes in big moments. It's been a heck of a year for Fuller. And I definitely think if I was the one voting, which I definitely can, Kyle Fuller is going to be getting a nomination from me. It's been a good year for him. He's made a ton of big plays, forced fumbles. He's gotten flagged for some big hits that he's made. But if they weren't flagged, they were hits that would probably change the game. So Kyle Fuller's been all over the field this year. He's also been really good in coverage. So allowing one of the lowest passer ratings in the game alongside Jalen Johnson. I think he's probably been a top 5 corner in 2020. So I'm going to bring Jalen back in here. Jalen, Kyle Fuller's plays haven't essentially shown up on the stat sheet, but he's been all over the field this year. He's been playing all pro football. He's been allowing one of the lowest passer ratings as well as completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks. So, and he also obviously takes up the wide receiver 1 of the opposing team for the most of the game. He's had some tough players to cover this year, and he's kept a lot of them silent. Amongst those, Mike Evans for a lot of the Tampa Bay game. Robbie Anderson when we played the Panthers. The Rams game wasn't so great, but he did good against A.J. Brown and Corey Davis when we played Tennessee. All right against Devontae Adams, but he's been making plays all over the field this year. So do you think he deserves a Pro Bowl nomination?
I think he does, but like I said, I don't think he has the when they look for Pro Bowl, when they look like to vote in corners, they look at the interceptions and
that's what shows up on the Pro Bowl voting sheet is all the stats. So
yeah, so and with him only having 1 interception, and that was in week 1 of the season, like people say, like Kyle is a corner because he can't catch, and Kyle Fuller has had many opportunities this season to get interception, and he just can't come down with them. But Kyle is a very good corner. He's been able to rejuvenate his career for the Bears ever since getting drafted in 2014. I know in 2017 he almost got cut, and he was able to have a bounce back season and get that huge extension that we gave him after we matched the offer sheet by the Packers. So Kyle has definitely not disappointed ever since we paid him. He's definitely been a top corner, and I feel like he should be a Pro Bowler, but without those interception numbers, I don't think he gets in, sadly.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting conversation about Fuller's future in Chicago after this year. The 2 players that have been pegged as people the Bears are going to have to make a choice on between moving on from is going to be Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks, seemingly with the draft capital we could get back for them, as well as with the money we could save from moving on from them. So it should be interesting to see what's up with Kyle's future in Chicago. But it's been a heck of a time watching him rejuvenate his career and become one of the better cornerbacks in the league. So finally, we're going to move on to an honorable mention. We couldn't leave this player out. We were originally just going to do 3, but we had to throw in this honorable mention here. So I'm going to pass it back on to Jaylen. I'm sure you guys can guess who it is. This wide receiver has never in his career earned a Pro Bowl nomination.
It was in 2014.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Hasn't earned one since his big year where he had 1,500 receiving yards, and I'm sure at this point you can guess who it is. But here's our honorable mention. Jaylen, take it away.
So my honorable mention is Allen Robinson, the best player on offense. For the last 2 years, I would say, the last couple of weeks, it's been David Montgomery, but definitely for the last 2 seasons, it's by far been Allen Robinson. On the year right now, he has 77 receptions, 904 yards, and 5 touchdowns. If he gets over, he's 96 yards away from 1,000 yards, and I definitely feel like he can get that on Sunday or in the next couple of weeks. He's definitely going to have a back-to-back 1,000-yard season with the Bears, something that hasn't happened since like Alshon, for the Bears essentially. So he definitely should be a Pro Bowl. I feel like he should have been a Pro Bowler last season when he had 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. He didn't make the cut. I don't even think he was an alternate off the top of my head. But Allen Robinson is definitely very underrated. He's a top 10 wide receiver. A lot of NFL heads can tell you that he's definitely underrated, not getting the attention he deserves. And once again, even with another 1,000-yard season on his belt, if barring any injuries, hopefully that he won't get a Pro Bowl or not. But like I said, Allen Robinson is definitely the best receiver on this team. Hopefully we can come to a contract extension. Maybe we tag him and look to re-sign him in the 2021 offseason. But Allen Robinson is a very good wide receiver, and he definitely should be an All-Pro. Oh, no, excuse me, All-Pro, a Pro Bowler. But who knows? He might be All-Pro as well.
Yeah, I got to go ahead and agree with you. And Allen Robinson's situation has been one of the most stressful for the Bears this year, but he's been putting up numbers. There have been some plays he's been scrutinized for, but in his defense, everything that happens on the Bears' offense is normally pretty porous. So when a player who's supposed to be making plays does something or screws up or has a little mistake, what he does gets magnetized a ton. So Robinson definitely, I think, deserves to make the Pro Bowl. You look at his 2019 season, 98 catches, 1,147 yards, 7 touchdowns. Looks like he's going to end up with around very similar numbers this year. About 3/4 through the season, he's got about 3/4 of those catches. He's got about 3/4 of those yards. He might end with a couple of more touchdowns, but I expect that he'll reach 1,000 yards after this week playing the Houston Texans, a very weak secondary that has some players actually that are going to be possibly missing the game or possibly a little bit banged up with injuries. So I think Robinson definitely deserves it. This has been a discussion ever since he came to Chicago his first year and had 55 receptions for 754 yards and 4 touchdowns. And there was a lot of scrutiny last year when Robinson didn't make it, obviously, because if you compare Allen Robinson's numbers last year to Jarvis Landry's of the AFC, Robinson had very similar, if not better, numbers. So I definitely think Robinson deserves it. And once again, it's going to be another interesting situation. You would assume the Bears are going to have a new GM. A ton of league sources are saying that the GM spot in Chicago is probably going to become open as well. It's probably the head coach. So we'll see if a new GM can get in there, sweeten up the ties that Pace was not able to do, and either sign him to an extension or get him to stay here another year on the franchise tag. It should be very interesting to see what's up in the future of Allen Robinson, but something that for sure should happen in his future is a Pro Bowl nomination, and I hope it can happen with the Bears, even though there is not a game happening. So before we close this one off, guys, do us a favor, head down to the comments, comment 3 Bears you think should make the Pro Bowl in 2021. Leave Khalil Mack out of there and comment 3 Bears you think should make it outside of him. And that'll pretty much do it for us. So thank you for tuning in to episode number 105 of Uncut. If you want more content from us, head over to our website, bearddown.com. We're going to be making articles about Pro Bowl nominations soon. And currently we're posting columns, articles, and blogs to get you guys ready for the Week 14 matchup with the Houston Texans. If you would like to find the podcast on social media, we're at Beared Down on Instagram and Twitter. Be sure to go check those out for sure. We're announcing a Christmas giveaway soon. It's going to be free to enter. We want to give back to you guys, and we're going to announce that probably within the next week and a half or so. And finally, you can find both of our social media pages down in the description, our Instagram and Twitter's included. It's a great follow, a great way to interact with us, and we're very active on both platforms, so be sure to check those out. Jaylen McClinton, there's no Pro Bowl game going on this year, but the accolades still do count, and there's a lot of Bears who deserve to make it, so I hope some of these guys can definitely pull it out. Any last words before we close this one out?
I don't know why Chris keeps telling people I'm active on social media. I'm definitely not active.
You're active on Twitter. And if people DM'd you on Instagram, you'd answer.
Yeah, that's true, but I'm still not active on it. Don't look for me to post. It's not gonna happen. Sorry, sadly. Yeah, let's like I said, let's hope the people we name make the Pro Bowl, maybe even more. But who knows? But I think people can still back out the Pro Bowl because they're supposed to be playing Madden, and people might. I'm like, 30 years old. Why am I playing?
Well, I didn't even know that. So
yeah,
hey, if they don't want to waste 60 minutes of their life, but I'm sure the NFL will do some sort of charity thing with it and make it worthwhile for the players. But I surely hope, as my last words, that Roquan Smith makes it. It's been an incredible year for him.
That's
I
all
think
I
he's starting to get more and more recognition. I still think he deserves more. And the crazy thing about him is he's still young. He's still going to continue to sprout up, and I think he's going to be next in line of great Bears linebackers. So he's definitely the one that I hope makes it the most. And I hope all these guys that we listed can make it, as well as Khalil Mack, because even though it's been a down year for him, he's still been getting pressures and stuff, a lot of stuff that doesn't appear on the stat sheet for Khalil Mack. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby, Uncut 105. This is the one you're watching. We'll have Uncut 106 will come out later tonight, and then we'll get back for Uncut 107 tomorrow, Fan Mail Friday, and into our weekend coverage for Bears versus Texans. But Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We will see you guys back tonight for Uncut episode 107, and that's pretty much it for us. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.